Hey, you guys. So, I want to touch on a couple things. I had a talk with my kids this morning, and they talked about their other parent. And my son came up with this whole elaborate story of how he talked to his parent, and he said he was going to come and see him and all of that. Now, I know it's just my son's imagination because they don't talk to their other parent on the phone and he does not call. But it do get me thinking, like, I know me and him had an agreement that I won't bother him no more about his children. We won't contact him at all. He's free to live whatever life he want to live, because I don't agree with him calling once a year, maybe twice a year. He only called on my son's birthday and Christmas, which I do not like. So I gave him an ultimatum. He chose to not be contacted by none of my children. With that being said, my question is, how do you move forward with a person like that? My kids is 5 and 3, and they ask about their other parent a lot lately. And it's like, I'm not going to tell them that he chose not to be their father, but I do want them to stop thinking about him and stop asking about him. I don't want to keep him from them, but for the sake of my kids' feelings and me being a protective mother, I feel there's no need to be a once a year type of parent. If you're not going to be consistent in calling them once a month or twice a month or even once a week, then don't feed my kids no lies, because I don't lie to my children. I don't like other people to lie to my children. With that, it's a dilemma because they want to talk to him, but I know he don't want to be involved, and I can't, like I said, I can't tell my children that. It makes me think about other parents out there that wants to be in their kids' lives, and the woman keeps him from their kids' life. Or you have grandparents that want to be grandparents to their grandchildren, and either their spouse that they're with is keeping them from their grandchildren, or the mother of the child is keeping them from the children. However the situation, I wonder, from a man's world, like, do you go above and beyond to see those kids? Is that a want or a need? What stops you from wanting to deal with those children despite the person that's with those children? And women, are you comfortable with dating a man that has children and you don't see him around his children, call his children, or deal with his children? If you are an active parent, do you question that? Do you stay with that person? If you see them more with your children than with their own children, does that make you feel any type of way? Do you look at him different as a man? Do you encourage him to still be a part of his kid's life, to try to make a way around that bitter woman? Because most of the time, I get is women bitter out here, but sometimes women are not bitter. They just want the man to step up. If you are that bitter woman keeping that man from them children, if it's not a situation where he's touching kids and he ain't harm to the children, like he's not violent or anything, if he's not none of that type of parent, and you're just keeping him from the kid, from keeping the kids from him for personal own feelings, how does that make you feel when your kids come to you and ask about the other parent? Are you going around saying you need help, even though you know you don't want the kid's father in the kid's life? Like, to the women that has, like, I say it like this because I know a couple situations that I'm not going to speak of. One of them is my own, but I'd rather not be negative. But it's a situation that I've witnessed in my world that my kids I'll say my kids have the ability to see whoever they want to see. It's their choice. I don't keep it from them. I allow my oldest to make the decision of who she wants to be around. My youngest two is not allowed, I'll say, to be separated or apart. In my world, there's a situation where if they leave my presence and they all go at once together, my kids are being separated, and I do not like that. So I do not send my youngest two, because I keep hearing, I haven't witnessed it for myself, but I keep hearing how they're always separated and they're not allowed to be around each other, and it's always a thing when they is amongst each other or they clinging to each other. I get both sides of it, but I would rather my kids stick together than to be separated. With that, I wonder, like, do this happen to just my kids, or is it happening to other children? Because I see in other families that this happened too. I've witnessed a woman date a man with children, and she did not like his children. So her children was superior to his children. She treated her kids a certain type of way. They didn't get in trouble. Nothing be said to them. They get everything they want. And then his kids just get whatever they could afford. Now, I'm not saying that's the situation I'm in. It's just that in my world of what I witnessed not just one female. I witnessed a few females do it. But I've seen it in my world, and it's like, if the roles were reversed, if you were sending your kids to somebody else's house, and let's say the daddy was active in your kid's life, and you sending your kids with this man, and his girlfriend or whatever she is to him is separating your kids. They're different because they're his kids and not her kids. How would you feel? Would you want that to happen to your kids? And if you don't want that to happen to your kids, why would you do that to somebody else's kid? I know it's a little dark in here, but it's like, my issue is, I'm a woman, and I would never want to date a man that has children, know that the children are his, and even if he has a bitter baby mama, and I'm not going to say baby mama because I don't like that word. I'll say kid's mother. Even if the kid's mother is bitter that they're not together, I would still want him to do all that he can, even if he cannot see these kids. I know it hurts the man pride and soul when he cannot see his children and he has to keep doing for these kids, but I would rather for him to do for those kids, to still do for those kids, even though he cannot see them. That way the kids know throughout anything, you still provided. You could not be a part of their world physically, but you still provided. You know what I'm saying? I personally, dealing with my situation, like I said, if a man have children, I would want him to be very active in the kid's life. If he is on child support, I want him to pay his child support. It might hurt us financially. In my world, I really don't know how that would play out. But to know that he's still doing what he's supposed to, even though he's paying child support and he cannot see the kids, it'll help me as a mother, as a woman. I just personally can't be with a man who has children, who knows he have children, and just don't want to deal with the kids at all. And some situations, it's the mother keeping him away from the kids, but other situations, men chose not to be a part of their kids' life, because I know a lot of men that the women are not keeping them from these children. They just chose not to be dealing with these children. Personal reasons, I don't know. That's their own man thing, but I personally cannot deal with a man like that. I feel like because I have kids and I'm dealing with a man like that, he don't want to be an active parent. He want to be an every now and then parent, and I don't like that. So I wouldn't date nobody who wants to be an every now and then parent. And like I said, for the women that's chosen to keep the kids away from their father, what is your real motive? Is he that harmful that you have to keep the kids away from him? Did he do you that bad where you felt like he shouldn't be a part of nobody's life? Like, what is it that makes you say you are done? Because in my world, what makes me say I am done is because this. 4 years ago, He walked out my life. We went to court. Everything happened through courts. Even with 2 tethers on his leg, he still came to my house to see the kids. Now, I don't know what his situation in the world happened, but at some point, he stopped calling. And he always had my inbox. Anytime he called me through Messenger, I gave the kids the phone. But his calls started getting lesser and lesser and lesser. And it only went to him only calling on my son's birthday, to him only calling on Christmas. And it's like, bro, it's 365 days in a year. You got to pick. Do you want to call them once a month or not call them at all? Do you want to make sure they're good at least once a month or not call them at all? Because this once a year is not going to work for me. I'm not telling him he cannot be active in their world. I'm telling him he has to be active in their world or leave them alone. He chose to leave them alone, and because he chose that, I chose not to bother them. I chose not to have them call him. My oldest is 13. She have every free will to go on Facebook, to hit his inbox whenever she want. I always ask her, have you talked to your daddy? Have you called him? She say no. Now, she did have a conversation where her dad said he no longer wanted to be their parent. That's the conversation she's going to have with him. But even though I told him to pick a side and I gave him that ultimatum, our lines are still open. I still offered the number. I have my inbox. I screenshotted and saved it. I gave him that choice, yes, but he chose to not want to be active in my kid's life. Number's still the same. Inbox still the same. Still got the same page. All of that. My daughter even have a page to reach out to him. So he have access to him. He just chose not to. Because he know he's only going to call once a year. And it's not fair to my kids. It's not fair to me having to decode my kids. I know this is a little lengthy and it feels like I'm just running. But my mind be racing because I am a mother. And I see a lot of situations where the mother keeps the kids from the father. And I see a lot of situations where the father just ain't good enough to be a father, but he'd rather be a father to other people's kids. And I know to my children it's not fair, because when they go to their dad's side, it's a separation. When they come to my side, there's no separation. All my kids get treated equally. I just want to break down those whys. Like, why do you keep these men from these children? Or why do y'all men chose not to be a father? And that using, I ain't have a daddy growing up, that's more reason for you to be a father. If you grew up without a father and you got kids out here and you chose not to be a father, that's you being like your father. So there's nothing you can say to your father or about your father. And you cannot feel no type of way, in my book, how I feel. You shouldn't feel no type of way because you're being just like him. If you didn't have one, that makes you want to be one. That's just my opinion of me being a parent. Like I said, I'm doing this by myself. I do be wanting help, but I'm not about to beg anybody to do anything for my children. I'm going to hope that in their heart, they want to be there for their own children. With that being said, I'm having a good day. It's getting a little darker. I hope all is well as with everybody, and I hope everyone is blessed within their day and at the end of their day, or however this may be to them. I hope all is good in your world. So have a good day continuously, and I'll talk to you guys later.